This is part 2 of how I met my mothers. In part 1, I told you all about how I met my mommy and how I became her plus one. In November of 2022, my mommy went to be with the Lord. Her second born daughter, my younger sister Naisha. I was right there with my sisters and my brothers, my aunts, uncles, cousins, my grandmother, and my nieces and nephews. Because I'm grown now, but we built a bond that could never be broken. That's my mommy. And at 27, 2 years after I'd relocated to the city of my birth, it was my mommy who helped me make a decision that was really hard to make. She'd been keeping up with the months of my illness. And when I told her that doctors had said that I needed to be able to provide them with my maternal medical history, she's the one who said, "You got a white pages daughter." Now, anyone who knows me, really knows me, calls me Pumpkin. But if my mommy called me by my government name, I knew that the shenanigans had to stop. One of the things that amazes me still to this day is just how intentional God is. I have 2 middle names. The first one is Yolanda. You heard that right. My mommy's name was Yolanda. And all of her daughters, my sisters, names rhyme with my second middle name. It's almost like it was meant to be. But that day she called me by my government name. And she said, "It's not going to hurt you to make the phone calls. Just call everybody in the phone book that has your last name. If you find her, you find her. And if you don't, you don't. But if you find her, you might live." Now, if you want to die, I'm just saying, make sure you leave all your paperwork where somebody can find it. If that intonation and tone sounds familiar, let's just say I borrowed some of my mommy's personality to write Mom Brenda in Bedtime Stories, grown-up edition. Because my mommy knew what you were doing, where you were doing it, and who you were doing it with, without anybody ever saying a word. Her and God had a relationship like that. See, I knew God all my life, but my mommy introduced me to God for real. She introduced me to God in the way that she lived, in the way that she raised her children, in the way that she raised me. She was the reason I preached my first sermon at 15. As a teen, I voluntarily stopped using profanity, and why I stopped fighting on a regular basis. She's where I learned to emotionally regulate, to extend grace, to forgive, and to be a giving person. I was not her only stray. She made helping people a natural part of who she was and who her children were. And she poured that into me too. She taught me about tithing, but she also taught me about giving. She taught me how to cook, how to clean, how to make $1 out of 15 cents, how to bake pineapple upside down cakes, make lasagna, shop for groceries, balance a checkbook. And she's the reason why I graduated from high school at 16 years old and started college the day after my 17th birthday. I got off the Greyhound on a Friday for orientation, and she got off the Amtrak on Monday to make sure her baby girl was good. She didn't play about me, and while I battled abandonment and rejection issues for most of my life, fought with birthday depression, and had to learn that while I was absolutely and very much a member of the family, everybody didn't know me the way that she did, or love me the way that she did, and nobody owed me anything. And I hate to say that I was a full-grown adult before I made peace with the fact that there were times when family members would gift my siblings things and they'd get 5 of something and I would get 1. Or a family member would come into town and take my siblings out to go and do an activity and I wouldn't be invited. When I was away at college and things would happen in the family and I'd find out about it last. You can imagine that was painful for me. It was hard to understand. I was 13, 14, 15 years old. I thank God for the fact that nothing was left unsaid between me and my mommy when she took her last breath. I was so angry with God, so angry when he called her home for a lot of reasons. One of which, because I wasn't there by her bedside with my siblings and my aunties when her heart beat its last. I was in the state of New York, but I was in another city with my father who had surgery. A snowstorm blew in. When I got the call that I needed to come home, I couldn't get out. She'd been sick for months, And I'd been home to see her. I was there when she was diagnosed. I was there when she was going through treatment. I was there when she was taken home from the hospital. I washed my mommy's feet and I prayed over her. And I cried real tears and let those tears wash over her feet. And before I headed home, during that visit, when we found out that she was terminally ill, she was taken back to the hospital, and I went back to the hospital with her. And I stayed with her most of the night because my flight was leaving the next day. And we talked about all of those things, all of those times when I felt less than, when I felt abandoned and rejected, when I felt left out, when I felt excluded, shorted. I got to tell her how I felt and what I'd learned, because I'd already learned that I was wrong. My perspective was wrong, but it was skewed because I was a child with abandonment and rejection issues. And there were no apologies because there weren't any necessary. I thanked her more times than I could count and told her how much I loved her more times than I could recall. But I had the opportunity to thank her again, to make sure that she knew just how much she meant to me and just how much having her in my life meant for the woman that I'd become, the mother that I'd become, the wife that I'd become. And she got to tell me things that I already knew. I already knew them in my heart, in my head, in my spirit. She got to tell me how much she loved me, how proud she was of me, how absolutely perfect our family was with me in it. And I needed all that. And we had that moment, those hours alone, just she and I. Because God knew that I wasn't going to be there when she took her last breath, because he didn't want me to be there when she took her last breath. He didn't want me to see that. He probably knew I wasn't going to make it. He wanted the last time that I saw her, that I hugged her, kissed her, and held her hand, to be a moment between just us. And I'm glad to know that all of my sisters, the ones who are still living, had the opportunity to have the same moment with her, just them. And the fact that she was surrounded by the people that she loved the absolute most in the world was enough for me.